Have you ever spent weeks, maybe even months, crafting the perfect, detailed backstory for a character, only to have them just lie there on the page totally flat? Yeah, it's a super common trap. But today, we're going to dig into a really powerful idea. What if a character isn't defined by their past at all, but by the ripples they create in the lives of others, right here, right now? Let's get into it. So, this is the big idea, the core thesis from our source material. And honestly, it completely flips the script on a lot of traditional writing advice. What it's saying is that a character's true self, their real identity, isn't what they think about themselves in their own head. No, it's the sum of what everyone else thinks about them, based purely on their actions. It's a pretty radical way to look at things, but it is so useful. And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If we can't just fall back on long internal monologues or pages of childhood trauma to do all the heavy lifting, then what are we supposed to do? Well, that's what this is all about. We're going to give you a really practical, action-based framework to make your characters pop off the page. You know, we're all taught to create these huge character dossiers, their favorite food, their biggest fear, what happened to them in third grade, all of it. But the source material argues this is a huge mistake, a fallacy. It's an amateur error, really, because it makes you focus on all this internal stuff that the audience might never, ever see. It's a trap. I absolutely love this metaphor. Just picture it. Your character is like a boat moving through a still pond. Their character isn't the boat itself. It's the wake they leave behind. It's all about the external, the social, the ripples they create. It's what can be seen and felt by everybody else in the story. All right, enough theory. Let's get concrete with the perfect case study. Phil Connors from Groundhog Day. Think about it. We know almost nothing about his past. No sad childhood stories, no mention of his family. And yet, within the first 10 minutes of that movie, we know exactly who this guy is. How? Because of social friction. We just watch how he bumps up against the world. Okay, now check this out. This is where it gets really cool. This matrix just breaks it all down so clearly. When Phil mocks Mrs. Lancaster, the sweet innkeeper, that reveals his elitism. When he literally runs away from his old acquaintance Ned Ryerson, that just screams narcissism. See? He doesn't have to look at the camera and say, "I'm an arrogant guy." His actions are broadcasting it loud and clear. This is his starting scorecard. And you don't have to take my word for it. Here's the proof, pulled from real-time audience reactions. The source we're looking at actually analyzed YouTube videos of people watching the movie for the first time. So when Phil is just awful to Mrs. Lancaster, the audience's verdict is instant. They don't need a 3-page backstory to come to this conclusion. And it just keeps coming when he runs into Ned Ryerson. Phil treats this totally sincere, friendly greeting with just pure contempt. And boom, the audience scorecard gets another checkmark. The judgment? Jerk. Negative. There is absolutely zero confusion about who this guy is. And here's the final nail in the coffin. His interaction with his cameraman, Larry. One viewer's reaction just says it all. Asshole. The verdict is in. In just a few minutes, with no backstory at all, the audience has judged and convicted Phil based on one thing and one thing only, his actions. So, Phil gets stuck in the time loop. What's his first move? Does he reflect and try to become a better person? No way. He tries to hack the system. He tries to manipulate his way into a relationship with Rita, and that leads us to this really key concept. This is what our source calls the sweet vermouth trap. Phil learns Rita's favorite drink, right? He memorizes French poetry. He's basically just collecting data points about her. But it's all just a performance. He's totally focused on the outcome, getting the girl, not on the process of actually becoming someone worthy of her. And you can just feel how fake it is. Both Rita and the audience can sniff it out a mile away. And this just perfectly illustrates why that whole approach is a disaster. The audience watching calls his poetry recitation creepy. When he uses his knowledge to trick another woman, Nancy, and then accidentally calls her Rita, they call it gross. Even when he does everything right according to his data, Rita slaps him again and again. Because, as one viewer put it, he pushed too hard. You just can't fake a genuine connection. Okay, this is the turning point. This is where everything shifts. Phil finally gives up on manipulation and starts actually working on himself. And this is where the community becomes the ultimate mirror, the final judge of his character. It's all about the power of social proof. So, here's the absolute crucial point. Phil doesn't get to just stand up and declare, "Hey everyone, I'm a good person now." His redemption has to be earned. And more importantly, it has to be given to him by the town. A character is who the community says they are. When Felix's wife gratefully calls him Dr. Connors, that title is real because it was bestowed on him, not because he claimed it himself. This slide just makes that shift crystal clear. I mean, the comparison says it all, right? His first strategy, creating the perfect day, was all about gaining knowledge of her so he could manipulate her, and it failed spectacularly. His second approach, becoming the perfect man, was about mastering himself, learning piano, ice sculpting, saving lives. He finally stopped trying to be someone else's ideal and started becoming his own. So what's up with this number, $339.88? It seems pretty random, but it's actually everything. It's the price Rita pays for Phil at the town's bachelor auction. And she isn't buying his sales pitch. She is buying the overwhelming social proof she's been hearing all day. She's heard from the piano teacher, the newlyweds, everyone he's helped. This number, this is his community-validated worth. It's his final scorecard. Okay, so this is all great theory, but how can we actually apply it to our own writing? Well, the source gives us a really modern and, frankly, clever hack for writers to find that moment of authentic change in their own stories. Seriously, this is brilliant. By watching reaction videos, a writer gets raw, unfiltered data. You can literally see the exact moment an audience stops judging a character and starts identifying with them, starts rooting for them. That moment is what the source calls the genuine signal. For Phil, it often happens when he tries and fails, over and over, to save the old homeless man. His motivation is finally truly selfless. And here's your playbook, the actionable steps. First, pinpoint that empathy pivot. When do the insults stop and the cheers begin? Second, identify the laughter gap. When do people stop laughing at a character's cruelty and start being touched by their sincerity? And third, the sincerity test. When a character finally confesses their feelings, does the audience see it as creepy or heartbreaking? This is your litmus test for genuine, authentic character development.
So if you only take one thing away from all of this, let it be this simple command. Go through your manuscript, find every single line where a character describes themselves or their own feelings, delete it, and then replace it with an action, an interaction with another character that proves that trait instead. Show, don't tell, through social friction.
And that's what it all comes down to. It's a simple but really profound question to ask yourself about your own work. If your main character is the one holding their own scorecard, you might be writing from the inside out. But if you let the other characters in your story, and by extension the audience, hold that scorecard, that's when you'll create a character that truly, deeply feels alive.